Hey everyone, this is Davan, and today I'll be talking about the news that Xbox will be keeping Call of Duty on PlayStation past the existing agreements. This news happened 2 days ago, the dust has settled, but there is a lot to unpack here. The debate has been very interesting. I thought that it was going to drag on for the next year and a half, but thankfully it didn't, and we have our clarification. I've been saying since day one that I think that Xbox will be keeping Call of Duty on PlayStation. They'll keep it multi platform. A couple of other journalists were saying this as well, but most people were saying that Warzone will stay multi platform, but that the mainline Call of Duty games will be Xbox exclusive only. So this was kind of the sentiment that most fans wanted. I think most Xbox fans wanted as well. And I got downvoted pretty heavily for saying that I think that it'll be multi-platform. It will remain multi-platform always. So there's a couple of reasons why I thought this, and you could see this in my first video, that you don't really want to trend a player base down, and you also don't want to cut off predictable cash flows that you know that you're going to get every quarter. So then after that, Phil Spencer had put out a tweet that said that there's a desire to keep Call of Duty on the PlayStation platform. So many people kind of laser focused on this word, and they said, okay, well, he could have a desire to do that, but it may not happen. It may be the intention, but the way that it's going to go is that the mainline Call of Duty games will remain on Xbox. So that went on for a little bit, and then we finally now have the answer that they're going to be keeping Call of Duty on PlayStation for at least the foreseeable future. So I completely understand the sentiment. I understand the sentiment that's coming from the Xbox fan base. They feel that many games that should have been on Xbox was kind of pulled away from their platform by PlayStation. Stuff like Street Fighter, stuff like Final Fantasy, and then eventually PlayStation started making deals with Bethesda to try to get their games to be exclusive as well. And they kind of want Microsoft to, in a way, hit back and to keep games and just to try to grow Xbox, regardless of what's going on with PlayStation. So I completely understand the sentiment, but I was trying to look at this as much as possible from a business perspective. And from a business perspective, I think that it always makes sense to keep a game as large as Call of Duty with a already established player base on as many platforms as possible. So one reason why some people think that this is happening is because of the pressure from the FTC and the Department of Justice and stuff like that for Xbox to not monopolize the industry and to not be anti-competitive as well. And I think that that does play a role in why they announced it as early as they did. They didn't have to really talk about this until like the deal was actually closed, but they decided to go forward and say that you could expect it on both platforms now. And I think that was to sort of alleviate some regulatory pressure as well. So I think that that did play a role, but I really do believe that because of the reasons that I stated, that it was always going to be multi-platform. And I think that this just puts everything in an interesting sort of perspective, because now people are starting to think, okay, well, what's going to happen with the other games? What on the next acquisition? Now we don't know. Could it be exclusive? Could it be multi-platform? So some people might say, okay, well, it's an easy answer. Anything that's a large multiplayer or live service game, any kind of studio that specializes in that, that's going to be multi-platform. And anything that is single player, that will be exclusive. But we really don't know, because they could take a live service game and reboot it into a single player game. That's something that could possibly happen with Anthem if anyone acquires BioWare. Or they could do the opposite. They could take a single player studio and then reboot one of their franchises into a live service game, and maybe they want to put that live service game everywhere. So we really don't know. Everything is kind of up in the air. So I think that that's kind of interesting on how acquisitions are going to be seen going forward. And how do I feel about this overall? Well, in a way, it is a little bit disappointing in terms of competition. Like the two biggest acquisitions that we've seen, this year are the PlayStation acquiring Bungie, and obviously the biggest one is Microsoft acquiring Activision. And both of those acquisitions, they don't really change a whole lot. Like they just don't really change a lot on the landscape of the competition, because that's what I'm a big fan of. I'm a big fan of the competition, and I want to see more reasons to differentiate Xbox and PlayStation. And then this really doesn't change a lot. I think on the Activision side, people are saying, okay, well, at least there will still be some exclusives like Crash Bandicoot and Spyro. So that will be interesting. And I also think that maybe if they pull High Moon out of Call of Duty, if we could get some more Transformers games, that would be really cool to see. And if those are exclusive on Xbox, it could give them another kind of third-person action adventure game to add to their catalog. So a lot of stuff to unpack going forward. Let's see how this all plays out. So that wraps up my thoughts. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe, and I will catch you next time. This has been Davan, and thank you for listening.